What if everything you've been taught about money was wrong? What if the very beliefs that were meant to keep you safe are the exact walls blocking you from the wealth you deserve? For centuries, people have been told that money and spirituality cannot coexist, that to seek wealth is to betray your soul, and to pursue spirit is to deny prosperity. But what if this is the greatest illusion of all? Imagine awakening to a new truth that wealth is not the enemy of spirit, but the partner of purpose. That money, when awakened, becomes a force for good, amplifying your light, your mission, and your freedom. Take a deep breath. You are standing at the threshold of a new journey, a journey that asks you to release the old stories, the inherited fears, the limiting beliefs that have chained your potential. This is not about chasing money for money's sake. It is about remembering who you are, a creator, a visionary, a soul with the right to abundance. As you listen to these words, allow your heart to open. Allow yourself to imagine a world where wealth and spirit walk hand in hand. This is where the path of the awakened millionaire begins, and it starts right here with you. Chapter 1: The Call to Awakening. There comes a moment in every life when the familiar no longer feels enough. Maybe it happens in the silence of the night, when you lie awake asking yourself, is this all there is? Maybe it arrives after years of hard work, when, despite the long hours and endless effort, your bank account still doesn't reflect the life you dreamed of. Or maybe it comes in the quiet ache of your soul, whispering that you were born for something greater, something deeper, something freer. This is the call to awakening. It is not a loud shout. It does not always arrive with fanfare. Instead, it appears like a subtle tug inside you, a sense that the way you've been living, the beliefs you've been carrying, are too small for who you truly are. Many people ignore this call. They dismiss it, silence it, or drown it with distractions. They convince themselves that money is evil, or that they must choose between being spiritual and being wealthy. They say, one day, when the stars align, I'll live my true life. But here's the truth. That day never comes unless you answer the call right now. Awakening is not about chasing some distant finish line. It is about shifting your perspective in this very moment. It is about realizing that the limits you thought were carved in stone are nothing more than stories. Stories passed down through culture, through family, through society, stories that no longer serve you. When you awaken, you begin to see money differently. It's no longer just paper, numbers, or survival. It becomes energy, a current that flows through your life. And just like the breath you are taking right now, it is meant to circulate. The call to awakening is not only about wealth, it is about wholeness, about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've hidden in the shadows, about recognizing that your deepest dreams, your boldest visions, your spiritual essence, all of it is connected to how you allow abundance to move through you. And here's something powerful. When you honor this call, when you choose to listen, life begins to respond. Opportunities arise where before there were only walls. People enter your path who mirror your new vision, and the money you once chased now starts to find you. So pause for a moment. Feel into your own life. Can you sense that quiet tug? That inner voice urging you to rise beyond the beliefs that have kept you small? If you can, then you are already standing at the gateway of the Awakened Millionaire Path. Asterisk. Chapter 2: The Trap of Limiting Beliefs. There are stories running in your mind that you didn't even choose. They arrived early, stitched into your nervous system by parents, by teachers, by the culture around you. Little sentences that sounded harmless at the time, but that have built a ceiling over your life. Money is the root of all evil. You don't get rich and stay a good person. People like us don't become wealthy. These aren't just phrases, they are templates. For living, each repetition, each whispered warning carved grooves into your subconscious over time. Those grooves guide your decisions more than your conscious intentions ever do. They become the map you follow until one day you notice you've been walking In circles, limiting beliefs work quietly and cleverly. They don't scream, they seduce. They show up as hesitation when an offer arrives, as a tiny voice that makes you undercharge for your gifts, as the small, rational reasons you give for not stepping forward. They are the invisible hand that turns opportunity into doubt, courage, into procrastination, calling into excuse. Consider Maya. As a child, she heard her grandmother say, "We must be humble with money." As she grew, humility became entangled with unworthiness. Maya launched a coaching practice, poured her heart into her clients, and then she priced herself so low that she couldn't pay her own rent. Whenever a bigger client came, she found a reason to say no. The story in her head, humility equals smallness, kept her from the very impact she was meant to have, the money. That could fund her outreach, her courses, her team, simply couldn't find purchase in the story she told herself. Where do these beliefs come from? They are cultural myths, religious shortcuts, survival strategies passed down through scarcity. Sometimes they were intended to protect you, warning you against greed or exploitation. But protection, when frozen, becomes prison. A lesson meant for a certain time becomes a lifelong rule that no longer serves you. The liberating fact is this: beliefs can be examined, spoken to, and changed. The first step is to bring them into the light. When you name a belief, "I believe I'm not worthy of money," it loses its covert power. Naming creates distance. Distance creates choice. Next, question it. Ask, where did I learn this? Does it serve my highest purpose now? What would happen if the opposite were true? Replace the old story with a new provisional story, one you can test. Instead of "money corrupts," try "money amplifies what I already am." Instead of "I'm not worthy," practice "I am a conduit for abundance, and my gifts deserve value." Finally, take small, concrete actions that contradict the old belief. Charge what you're worth for one client. Save a fixed amount each month. Say yes to one opportunity that used to terrify you. Action stitches the new story into the body as effectively as words do into the mind. This is not denial or blind optimism. It is a conscious repattern, a spiritual practice. As much as a psychological one, it is the work of an awakened life, seeing a limiting belief, feeling its truth without obeying it, and choosing something larger. And so, having begun to name and unmake these inner prisons, the natural next step is to reframe what money actually is. If we can change the story we tell about money, we can change the relationship we have with it in the next chapter. We will step into a different frame entirely, one that understands money as a neutral flow of energy, a resource to be guided with intention and soul. Chapter 3. Reframing wealth as energy. Pause for a moment and think about money. What image comes into your mind? Paper bills, numbers in a bank account, a paycheck at the end of the month? For most people, money looks like something fixed and solid, like a brick you either have or don't have. But this view is an illusion. In truth, money is not a static object. Money is energy, and energy, by its nature, flows. This is why some people seem to attract opportunities again and again, while others, no matter how hard they work, feel stuck. In scarcity, it's not just about skill or luck. It's about alignment with the flow of energy. Think of electricity. You can't see it, yet it powers your home, your devices, your life. If the wiring is faulty, the current doesn't flow. If the channel is open, the energy moves effortlessly. Money operates in much the same way. It flows where it is welcomed, where the channel is clear, where belief and action create openness instead of blockage. When you hold on to money in fear, clutching it tightly, you actually choke the flow. When you reject money, believing it's unspiritual, you close the circuit altogether. But when you respect it as energy to be received, to be circulated, to be invested with purpose, you step into harmony with abundance. Here's the liberating shift. Money is not the end goal. It is a medium, a current, a a tool that carries your intentions into the physical world. It magnifies your essence. If you are fearful, money mirrors fear. If you are generous, money mirrors generosity. Consider someone like Awaken, a musician who once despised money, believing it corrupted art. For years he struggled, underpaid and unseen. The turning point came when he reframed money as energy. As a way to amplify his music, with this new perspective, he began charging fairly, selling his songs, investing in better tools within 2 years. His music reached tens of thousands of people. Money didn't corrupt his art, it carried it further. This is the invitation of reframing, to see money not as an enemy or a master, but as an ally. When you welcome it, respect it, and direct it consciously, it expands your reach and nourishes your purpose. And here's something powerful to remember. Energy responds to clarity. If you are vague about money, money will be vague with you. If you are intentional declaring your goals, setting boundaries, aligning your actions, the flow becomes steady, natural, and sustainable. So ask yourself, if money is energy, how am I inviting it to flow through me? Am I a closed circuit, or am I an open channel? Because the truth is this: wealth doesn't begin in your bank account. It begins in your mindset, your beliefs, your alignment with the infinite energy of life itself. And this leads us directly into the next stage of awakening, discovering how your deepest passions, your talents, your spiritual calling are not separate from wealth, but directly tied to it in Chapter 4. We'll explore how purpose becomes the magnet, the true force that draws abundance toward you. Chapter 4. Wealth and Spiritual Purpose. There is a quiet question that often goes unspoken. Why am I here? Not merely to pay bills or chase another promotion, but a deeper why. The one that sits behind your dreams, the work that wakes you up with enthusiasm, the cause that feels bigger than you. When your money is tied to that why, something remarkable happens. Wealth stops being a mere scoreboard. It becomes fuel for your purpose, for the service you offer, for the ripple you want to send across the world. Purpose is the magnet. Money is the means. To many people work backwards. They chase money, hoping it will give their life meaning. The awakened path flips the order. You locate your purpose first, the thing that sings in your chest, and then allow wealth to gather. As support, this alignment changes motives, choices, and outcomes. Instead of scrambling for short-term gain, you invest in long-term value. Instead of hoarding, you create channels for circulation. Instead of scrambling to be visible, you allow service to attract attention naturally. Think of it like this: purpose is the compass. Money is the vehicle. A powerful vehicle, wrongly driven, can take you into the wrong neighborhood. A modest vehicle, driven with clear direction, can take you to the right place when both compass and vehicle are aligned. The journey feels effortless and meaningful. Let me tell you about Leela. She began as a healer, offering sessions in a small room with a candle and a worn sofa. She loved her work, but she constantly worried about paying rent. She undercharged and taught herself to be invisible. One day, she decided to reframe her relationship to money through the lens of purpose. Instead of thinking, "I charge because I must survive," she decided, "I charge because my work plants seeds of healing that spread through families and communities." She created a modest pricing structure that reflected the transformation. She invested in a simple website, and committed to offering scholarships for those who truly couldn't pay. Within a year, her income tripled. She hired an assistant, and her outreach multiplied. Money didn't corrupt her practice. It amplified it. She became available to more people, gave more freely where it mattered, and the quality of her service deepened. Purpose-infused wealth has 3 characteristics: clarity, stewardship, and expansion. Clarity: you know why you do what you do. That clarity attracts aligned opportunities and people. Stewardship: you see money as entrusted to you to use wisely, not as a personal trophy. Stewardship invites responsibility. and responsibility births trust. Expansion. When wealth is directed toward purpose, it multiplies impact, creating systems that help others grow as well. So how do you begin to tie your money to purpose? Start small and start inward. Ask yourself honest questions. What gives me energy? Where do I feel useful? Who benefits from my gifts? Then map a simple plan. Price your work fairly, create at least one income stream that scales your impact, and set aside a portion of resources to reinvest in the mission. Remember, the goal is not to demonize comfort or material success. The goal is to sanctify it, to give it a sacred role in service of something greater than personal gain. In that sanctified space, wealth becomes a language of possibility. Funding schools, supporting artists, building clinics, scaling movements that heal and uplift as your purpose clarifies. Your financial decisions gain coherence. Abundance becomes not merely possible, but inevitable. Because your energy is directed, your actions are intentional, and the world responds to authentic offers of value. Next, we move from vision into action. In Chapter 5, we'll explore practical, step-by-step ways to break free from limiting beliefs and translate purpose into concrete, inspired choices. Chapter 5. Breaking free through conscious choice. There is a moment when seeing is no longer enough. Awareness has opened a door. And now comes the most important move, choosing differently on purpose. Breaking free is less about luck and more about decision, not a single large dramatic decision, but 1,000 small deliberate choices made again and again until they become the new way you live. Conscious choice is the daily practice that converts insight into reality. So what does conscious choice look like when it comes to money and spirit? It shows up in 3 interlocking ways. The choices you make in your thinking, the choices you make in your habits, and the choices you make in who you allow into your life. Let's walk through them. Number 1. Choosing your inner story. First, choose your narrative. You were raised with stories, some of them tender, some of them fearful. To break free, you must decide which stories you will carry forward and which you will retire. This is practical work. It begins with a simple sentence. I choose to tell a new story. Then you craft the story with specificity. Instead of the vague lament, I'm always unlucky with money, choose I am learning the language of abundance and I can grow it. A new sentence is an invitation. Repeated, it becomes a neural pathway when you choose your story consciously. Your subconscious begins to respond differently. Opportunities that once passed unseen now appear on your path. Practice. Write 3 I choose statements about money. Read them aloud each morning for 30 days. Notice what changes not immediately in zeros on a bank screen, but in the small choices you begin to make. Number 2, choosing new habits. Second, choose habits that honor both wealth and spirit. Choice without ritual is brittle. You must codify your intentions into daily acts, financial rituals that stitch meaning to money. These rituals are simple but potent. Paying yourself first, setting a weekly budgeting review, pricing your services to reflect true value, scheduling time to give or volunteer. These acts teach your body and your bank account a new grammar. They say to the world, I steward resources. I respect abundance. Over time, rituals compound. Tiny acts of integrity become the scaffolding of lasting prosperity. Practice. Pick one financial ritual today. Make it non-negotiable for 90 days. Track it. Celebrate small wins. Number 3. Choosing your circle. Third, choose who you surround yourself with. People influence the economy of your mind. If you sit among worry, scarcity will sound normal. If you join those who think boldly and act with generosity, you will find your own frame expanding. Conscious choice means sometimes pruning connections that anchor you to old fears. It also means actively seeking mentors and peers who model integrated wealth, people who speak of money without shame and of spirit without ego. Community accelerates possibility. It also mirrors the level of possibility you will allow. Practice. Reach out to one person this week who embodies a healthier relationship with money. Invite them for coffee or a short call. Ask what practices help them shift. Number 4, choosing. Courage over comfort. Choice often requires discomfort. You will be asked to step where your old beliefs feel unsafe. Choosing consciously is choosing courage more often than comfort. It could mean raising your prices, applying for that leadership role, investing in yourself, or saying no to projects that drain your soul. Courage is a muscle. The first lifts are awkward. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Each courageous choice rewires possibility. You begin to trade the short-term reassurance of staying small for the long-term reward of becoming larger than your fears. Practice. Identify one decision you've been postponing out of comfort. Commit to a 2-week timeline to act on it, even if it feels imperfect. Number 5, choosing to give and receive. True freedom in money comes when you intentionally choose both giving and receiving. Spiritually mature people often excel at giving and struggle with receiving. Conscious choice balances the two. Choose to give in ways that align with your values. Choose to receive with gratitude and dignity, because receiving well completes the cycle of circulation. Practice. This month, set aside a specific gift time, money, resources to give. At the same time, accept an offer or fee that reflects your worth, and receive it with a short prayer or moment of gratitude. Consider Alina, a therapist who loved her work but always felt guilty charging more than the nearest neighbor. Her default story was humility equals small fees. One day, after a particularly stressful month, she decided consciously to change. She wrote 3 I choose statements, instituted a ritual of reviewing her fees quarterly, and reached out to a colleague for mentorship. When her first client accepted the new fee without complaint, she felt a tremor of disbelief and relief. She reinvested a portion in her practice and began offering a scholarship fund for clients in need. Her income rose. So did her ability to serve. The change was not magic. It was hundreds of small, chosen acts, practical tools to anchor choice, journaling, weekly reflections on decisions made and what they revealed, accountability, a partner, coach, or group to check in with about one money intention. Micro experiments, short tests example. Raise rates for 1 month to gather evidence against old stories. Rituals, simple, daily, weekly practices that keep you aligned. Meditation on abundance. Budgeting, gratitude for receipts, conscious choice, is not a one-off victory. It is an ongoing fidelity. You will return to old habits sometimes. That is human. The difference is that now you return, knowing how to choose again. Each time you choose, you reclaim freedom from the small forces that once determined your life. When enough people choose in this way, when enough creators, healers, leaders, and artists decide that wealth and spirit can be partners, the culture itself begins to change. That is the promise held in this chapter. Liberation is available to anyone who decides to claim it as we step forward. Chapter 6 will paint the portrait of the awakened millionaire, the habits, the character, and the daily practices that emerge from a life shaped by conscious choice. Prepare to meet the qualities that not only attract wealth, but sustain it for the good of many. Chapter 6. Becoming an Awakened Millionaire. So far, we've uncovered the illusions, the limitations, and the choices that keep people locked in a cycle of lack. But now comes the most exciting part. Imagining what life looks like once you've stepped into the freedom of conscious wealth. This chapter is about embodying that identity. It's about becoming an awakened millionaire. Not a millionaire in the narrow sense of chasing digits on a bank statement, but a millionaire in the deeper sense, someone who lives in abundance, shares generously, creates value, and experiences the spiritual richness of life. Let's explore the key qualities that define this awakened identity. Number 1, purpose. At the core, an awakened millionaire is not driven by money alone. It's the tool. Money becomes the amplifier of a vision that goes beyond the self. Think of someone like Muhammad Yunus, who pioneered microfinance. His purpose was to empower the poor, and money became the channel for transformation. Or Oprah Winfrey, who uses her resources to tell stories that heal and uplift. These figures remind us, when your purpose is clear, money has direction. Reflection. What is one cause or mission in your life that wealth could magnify? Write it down. See money not as the finish line, but as the fuel. Number 2, integrity in action. Becoming awakened means aligning money choices with values. No secret deals in the dark, no shame-filled compromises. When you live with integrity, you create an unshakable foundation. People trust you, opportunities flow to you, and you sleep peacefully at night. It's not perfection, it's consistency. Choosing honesty when shortcuts look tempting. Pricing fairly, delivering more than you promise. This is the wealth that cannot be taken from you. Practice. Audit your money flow. Does every stream align with your values? If something feels out of integrity, choose one step today to adjust it. Number 3, generosity as a reflex. The awakened millionaire understands that giving is not loss, it is circulation, like the ocean tides. Wealth flows when released. Generosity becomes not just a practice, but a reflex. This doesn't mean giving recklessly. It means giving consciously, to causes that matter, to people who need, to the future you believe in. Generosity is also expressed through mentorship, kindness, or sharing knowledge. Story. I once met a man who quietly funded scholarships for children in his hometown. He said, "Every time I give, I feel richer. Not poorer, richer." That is the heart of awakened million. Number 4, embracing growth without fear. Awakened millionaires are not afraid to grow. They invest in themselves, books, mentors, programs, experiences. They treat personal development not as an indulgence, but as a responsibility. Growth requires humility. It requires admitting you don't know everything. It requires risking failure, but each step forward expands capacity, not just financial, but spiritual practice. Commit to one bold investment in your growth this year. A course, a mentor, or even time off to recharge. Growth multiplies wealth in unexpected ways. Number 5, balanced relationship with money. To be awakened is to remove drama from money. No more clinging, no more fear. Money is energy, a tool, a servant, not a master. The awakened millionaire spends wisely, saves consistently, invests intelligently, and enjoys freely. This balance creates peace. Money no longer controls mood or dictates self-worth. It simply flows as part of life, like oxygen or water. Reflection. Notice your emotional response to money this week. Do you feel tension when paying bills? Do you feel guilt when receiving? Balance comes when every transaction is met with gratitude, not fear. Number 6, wealth as a spiritual path. The most profound quality of an awakened millionaire is the realization that money and spirit are not rivals, they are partners. Earning can be prayer, spending can be ritual, giving can be devotion. When you see wealth as sacred, you stop chasing it like prey and start tending it like a garden. Every dollar becomes a seed, every act of service a harvest. Wealth becomes not just your privilege, but your ministry. A portrait of the awakened millionaire. Picture someone who rises each day with gratitude, who works not just to make a living, but to make a difference, who welcomes money with open hands, uses it with wisdom, and releases it with joy. This person is not bound by fear of loss, nor seduced by greed for more. They are free, wealthy in spirit, wealthy in resources, and wealthy in contribution. And the truth is, that person could be you. Becoming an awakened millionaire is not just about your personal story. It is about stepping into a larger vision of what life can be when wealth and spirit are united. You have released illusions, you have confronted old patterns, and you have chosen to live differently. Now, the question remains, How will you carry this awakening forward? The journey doesn't end with personal abundance. It blossoms into something greater, a manifesto to live by. A compass for every decision, every action, and every heartbeat that follows. Final reminder, a manifesto to live by. This is not just a conclusion. It is a call, a sacred vow between you and the life you are meant to create. Let these words anchor you whenever doubt returns, whenever fear whispers, whenever the old illusions try to reclaim you. The manifesto of the Awakened Millionaire. I vow to see money not as an enemy, nor as a god, but as a sacred ally. I vow to live with purpose, to let my mission, not my fear, guide the flow of my wealth. I vow to choose integrity. Even when shortcuts look tempting, I vow to give with generosity and to receive with grace. Knowing that circulation sustains abundance, I vow to grow without ceasing, to invest in myself as the soil from which new wealth blooms. I vow to honor balance, remembering that wealth is not measured only in numbers, but in peace, joy, and contribution. I vow to live awake, to see beyond illusions, to break old chains, to walk in freedom. This is not a manifesto for someday. It is a manifesto for today. Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to claim it, to speak it, to live it. And as you do, remember, you are not alone. Every choice you make toward awakened wealth strengthens a movement to quiet. Rising tide of souls who believe that prosperity and spirit are not opposites, but partners. So step forward, live this manifesto. Let your life become the proof that wealth and purpose, money and meaning, can thrive together. And may you never forget, the world is waiting for the light only you can bring. Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions, your breakthroughs, and let us know what you'd love to hear next. Subscribe to stay connected. And if this message could uplift someone you care about, send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.